What's up, guys? Your boy, 20K13. We're going to talk about 5 best and 5 worst WWE feuds of 2015 so far, which make a wrestling feud good or bad. There are a number of factors that determine whether it's a hit or a miss, ranging from the quality of matches to promos, the storyline advancement, and how the feud is presented to the masses. The presentation of the feud is essential because if it's a main event feud, it's going to get a lot of time. But if it's just your run of the mill mid-card rivalry, then even the best performer will have a tough time trying to make it a successful rivalry and sell it to the masses as being important. Although the business has changed a lot over the years, most of the stories told in wrestling are still about the battle between good and evil. While WWE may state publicly that the line has been blurred and that there aren't faces or heels anymore, it has been proven time and time again that the formula still works. But just how much has that formula worked or not worked in the first 6 months in 2015? Have the best few this year employed a classic good versus evil strategy, or have we seen more intricate and complex storytelling from WWE, with characters that blur the boundary a little bit more? And what about the worst feud to great or TV set so far in 2015? Did they flop so resoundingly because of the writing, the presentation, or was it down to the performers themselves? Worse. Number 5. The Ascension versus New Age Outlaw. This feud was so brief that people might forget it, but it needed to be mentioned because WWE actually thought it would be a good idea to have the Ascension feud with a retired tag team like the New Age Outlaw. While the Outlaw are one of the most popular tag teams in WWE history, they aren't full-timers and they shouldn't have been in a pay-per-view match, especially at a major show like the Rumble. In 2015, perhaps that's a perk of being good friends with Triple H all these years as well as being current WWE employees. The purpose behind this rivalry was to put over the Ascension. The problem is that before the Royal Rumble tag team match, there was a segment on Raw in January where multiple people beat them up, which did way more harm than good. The Ascension beat the Outlaw at the Royal Rumble, and then what? Nothing. We were born and bred to rip and shred. How did that Ascension catchphrase work out? Not good at all. It was a bad feud because it didn't accomplish the goal of putting over the Ascension and making them bigger stars. There wasn't a whole lot done with the Ascension after this feud, and if you look at where they are now, they are in a worse spot today than they were back in January. Oh, and the Outlaw went back to their backstage job too. Number 4. Goldust versus Stardust. Here are two very good performers who are legitimately brothers that happen to be a great tag team for a couple of years. The split seemed inevitable with younger brother Stardust wanting to prove he better than his bigger bro. But it wasn't done the right way at all. They had a pay-per-view match at Fastlane in February, and sadly the crowd didn't seem to care one iota. That's because the match was worked in a way where they really weren't that aggressive. The story was about Goldust not wanting to beat his brother too bad, so it was slow paced and it was just really boring. It felt like they were building for something more, but instead of that, the feud just ended with a whimper. Both Dustin and Cody have a lot of talent. Chances are if they ever get to feud again, it will be very good or even great. It's just one of those things where the story didn't work and it was pretty forgettable, all things considered. It's also sad thinking about this feud today because their dad, Dusty Rhodes, recently passed away. The last time Dusty was on WWE TV was when this feud was going on when Dusty tried to make Cody see the light, but he wasn't having any of it. If they were able to tell the story the right way, it could have been really good. Number 3, Paige versus the Bella Twins. The main Diva feud back in January was Paige taking on the Bella Twins. It led to a match at the Royal Rumble where the Bellas beat Paige and her partner Natalya. That built up to AJ Lee coming back, teaming with Paige to beat the Bellas at WrestleMania, and then AJ retired from the company at 28 years of age. 6 months into 2015, the main Diva feud is still Paige versus the Bella Twins, with nothing resolved because Nikki Bella has been the Diva champion since last November. Mind-blowing. If you missed the last 6 months of WWE TV, then you basically missed nothing at all in terms of the Divas because the lack of storyline progression has been really bad. Along the way, there was a brief face turn by the Bellas just so they could feud with a heel Naomi for a bit, but then they went back to being heels without any kind of angle to signify the turn. The way WWE Divas are booked on the main roster is terrible. They can talk about change all they want, but unless something happens, it's just talk without action, and that isn't going to help anybody. Number 2, John Cena versus Rusev. It was a feud that never seemed to end. Rusev got right in John Cena's face at the end of the Royal Rumble broadcast, shown on WWE Network, and then they feud into the month of May with a final match at Payback. That was way too long. It went about 30 minutes. There are times when a feud going 4 months could be considered a good thing because it could be due to storyline progression or something interesting happening. But that wasn't the case for them. It just dragged on for too long without many interesting things happening. Rusev won the first match in February, although it wasn't really a clean victory, and it's not like Cena tapped out or was pinned. Then Cena beat him clean at a whistle at WrestleMania to end his undefeated streak, which pretty much put an end to whatever momentum Rusev had built up. A month later, Cena beat him again in a Russian chain match, which was supposed to be Rusev's specialty. That led to the Payback match with I Quit Rude. That was really only done to have Lana split from Rusev, which seemed really unnecessary. Remember that terrible lawyer they brought in that couldn't even do a fake Russian accent and was embarrassingly bad? That's exactly the kind of thing that hurt the feud. Their matches were fine and a few promos were okay, but for the most part, this whole thing was a big waste of time. Number 1, The Miz versus Damien Sandow. The worst feud is in this spot because of the booking and really isn't the fault of the performers. This long-term storyline should have led to a match at WrestleMania because of all the time they invested in this angle, with Sandow working as Damien Mizdow for months. Instead, they didn't even have a pay-per-view match against one another. They could have had 2 or 3 pay-per-view matches if it was booked the right way. Yet it ended when Miz won the feud in a match on Raw, and Sandow never really got his revenge. What they should have done was have Sandow eliminate Miz during the Royal Rumble match, which led to Sandow becoming a face on his own, then have a match at the February Fastlane pay-per-view where Miz gets the cheap win, and they could set up another match at WrestleMania. That's what Sandow could have won to end the feud, give him a WrestleMania moment. That's better than finish second in a pre-show, battle royal, and actually cap off a good storyline. Sandow should be a bigger star than ever today. It hasn't happened because he's barely on Raw or SmackDown. If he's on any show, it might be Superstar or Main Event, as part of a comedy tag team with Curtis Axel. This was the worst feud because the creative team totally dropped the ball by not capitalizing on one of the hottest angles they had going into 2015. The best. Number 5, The New Day versus Tyson Kidd and Cesaro. There had been a bit of a tag team resurgence in WWE in the first half of 2015. Although injury has hurt things currently, the team of Cesaro and Tyson Kidd were a huge bright spot that started off as heels, that were able to win the tag team title from the Usos, which was a very good feud. If Jey Uso didn't hurt his shoulder, then the rivalry with Cesaro and Kia could be featured as one of the best feuds this year. It's pretty incredible to see how much better the New Day trio of Big E, Kofi Kingston, and Xavier Woods got when they turned heel. They went from being a boring team of babyfaces that weren't going anywhere to one of the most entertaining acts in the company. Since New Day was heel, WWE turned Cesaro and Kia faces, and that team may have been better in that role because they are so good in the ring that it was easy to cheer them. All of this led to several great matches with Cesaro and Kia against New Day, which led to a tag team title change at Extreme Rules. It's too bad the feud can't continue because of Kia's serious neck injury, but at least there were several great matches and moments in the first half of the year. Number 4. Sasha Banks vs. Charlotte, Becky Lynch, and Bayley. The women of NXT have been a huge bright spot in WWE for the last year or two. Earlier this year, Sasha Banks and Charlotte even headlined an NXT Live event in Philadelphia, which is an example of how much confidence WWE has in their rising female performers. Back at February NXT TakeOver event, Banks defended the women's title against rival Charlotte, Becky Lynch, and Bayley. It was a fantastic match with a lot of thrill, but also a good backstory too. Banks had been aligned with Charlotte and Lynch at different points of her career, while Bayley is a prototypical underdog face that is easy to root for. It really was a perfect match of style for these four ladies that some people want to call the Four Horsewomen. Banks faced off with Lynch in a single match at the May TakeOver event that was phenomenal as well. What was so great about it is that Lynch won over the fans as a babyface wrestler because of the fighting spirit she displayed against the heel Banks. Prior to that match, Lynch didn't have that much of a connection with the crowd. By the end of it, she received a standing ovation for the amazing match that they had. They told a great story and the crowd absolutely bought into it just as WWE hoped they would. The reason this rivalry should be considered a huge success is you can look at all four women and say that they are bigger stars today than they were 6 months ago. That's not just because of the work in the ring, but also the good booking too. Number 3. Kevin Owens vs. Sami Zayn. Kevin Owens has been such a bright spot since debuting at the December 2014 NXT TakeOver event and attacking his best friend Sami Zayn, who had just won the NXT title. They carried that story into this year with Owens outsmarting Zayn by saying that if Zayn wanted a match, then he had to put the NXT title on the line, even though Owens had only been in the company for 2 months at that point. Their NXT title match at the February NXT TakeOver delivered because Owens destroyed Zayn in a way that was similar to what Brock Lesnar did to John Cena at SummerSlam last year, except this beating looked even more brutal. Lesnar pinned Cena in that match. Owens didn't pin Zayn because he beat him so bad. The ref called the match and put Owens over as this monster heel that would be tough to beat. It was a perfect example of not only having a great match that lived up to expectations, but telling a great story around the match as well. When you can combine those two things, that when you can really deliver something special in wrestling. They had a rematch at the May NXT TakeOver event. When Zayn started off the match on fire, until Owens stopped him with a powerbomb off the side of the apron. The match ended there with another reminder of how ruthless Owens can be. Sadly, Zayn needed shoulder surgery and probably won't be in action again until early next year. Assuming this feud pick up at that point, we could see them having one of the best rivalries in WWE next year on the main roster as Zayn looks for his revenge. Number 2. Seth Rollins vs. Dean Ambrose. The Rollins-Ambrose rivalry started over a year ago when Rollins turned his back on the Shield by attacking Ambrose and their buddy Roman Reigns. when they feud in the second half of 2014, it left people wanting more. Earlier this year, it looked like Ambrose was getting lost in the shuffle, but post-WrestleMania, he got back to main event level. WWE realized how popular he is, so it made sense to go back to this rivalry. Fans could relate to it because they wanted Ambrose to get his revenge on Rollins, and in doing so, he could also try to take away the WWE title from him as well. They had several awesome matches this year, including May 4th on Raw, the Payback main event, also with Reigns and Orton. The Elimination Chamber main event where it looked like Ambrose won the WWE title, and then the ladder match at Money in the Bank where Rollins barely won. They even had a really good match on SmackDown last week too. Anytime these two are in a match, whether it's single, tag, or a multi-man match, they are always going to put on an entertaining show. They have that kind of chemistry that wrestlers with they can have with every opponent, but only those rare few that can capture that magic. Rollins and Ambrose feuding has definitely been a highlight in WWE so far this year. And number one, John Cena versus Kevin Owens. For the best feud of 2015 so far, it has to be WWE US Champion John Cena and his newest rival, Kevin Owens. This is one of those rivalries that wrestling fans, especially those of us online, probably dream about for years, yet didn't think it would happen, much less this quickly. Give WWE credit for realizing that Cena needed a fresh rival after that boring feud with Rusev, so they brought in the NXT champion and struck gold as they delivered two Match of the Year contenders within 2 weeks of each other. The first match they had at Elimination Chamber was eye-opening because not only was it great, but Owens won clean. Cena had lost clean so rarely in the last 10 years that you can count how many times it's been on two hands. For Owens to do that in his first match on WWE main roster really elevated him to a status as a near main event performer very quickly. Their match at Money in the Bank may have been even better than the Elimination Chamber match. The difference in that one is that Cena got the clean win over Owens, which led to Owens doing a cheap attack after the match because he's a sore loser. That match also evened the series at 1-1, with the third match coming in a few weeks at Battleground. There's no better WWE feud in 2015 than Cena vs. Owens. The outstanding matches are a big reason why, but the fact that Owens is a much bigger star because of the rivalry is very important too. Give Cena credit because if Owens did this feud with anybody else, it wouldn't mean as much. Cena's star power is so important to WWE for reasons like this where he can make his opponents look like they belong in main event feud. In 6 months from now, when it's time to think about the best feud of the year, the chances are very good that it will still be Cena vs. Orton. It will be tough for another feud to top this one. But that's it, guys. Like, comment, subscribe. See you guys on the next one. Peace.